You got my text?
I did.
Okay, I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. First item is assignment for request for council action. We have 21-143 American Rescue Plan Act documents, 21-144 grant application Ohio Public Works Commission OPWC, 21-145 approved community development director job description revision, and 21-146 amend salaries and benefits code, add Juneteenth as a federal holiday. The next item we have is a carryover from our last finance meeting. It's 21-122 elected official salaries. If everyone recalled, we had a discussion on modifications of the salaries related to city council, the finance director, and the mayor's position. With that, we discussed, we sent it off to the Charter Review Commission for their recommendation and guidance with respect to what they view as acceptable. They came back and talked about raises for the city of council. I think it was 5% for the president of council and 10% for each of the other members of city council over a period of years, the 4-year period. And with respect to the mayor and the finance director, I think it was 2.5%. Based upon each of the 4 years. And we got that information. I held it over to this meeting just so everybody had time to think about it, talk to whomever they needed to talk to about it, and make a determination of what they thought and what their opinions are with respect to the various increases of both council, finance director, or among council, finance director, and the mayor. So at this time, anybody have any discussion or comment? Mr. Land?
You know, I've looked at it, and I appreciate the information that we got, but I think that considering the time, I believe what we passed tonight has to be on an emergency clause. Am I correct there?
Correct. It has to be on in the Board of Elections prior to, I think it's August 4th or August 6th.
Okay, so we're voting on this tonight as an emergency clause item.
It would have to be correct, yes.
So my position is that for right now, I think it would be best if we kept the council salaries, the finance director's salary, the mayor's salaries, if we kept everything as it is right now. Make no changes.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Simpson?
I do agree that we shouldn't change the council salaries. I think it's been quite a while since the mayor and finance director has seen an increase, and I feel that a small increase, and I know that whatever we would choose to give them, the collective bargaining units would want to follow suit. But I do believe that they should be given a increase in their salary.
Any other comments?
I guess I'm closer to Denny. I think, too, I think we all agreed on council. It sounded like we were not looking to raise those. But I do hate to have everybody in City Hall get a raise and not have these two positions get a raise. And I just think when you skip it like this and let it fall behind, then it's harder to catch up later on. So.
No, I think I agree with that. I think we went through this before. I think when I first got on council, I think council members were making $2,400 and maybe somebody before that were less. But it was for many years, I think, if I recall, maybe 6 years. And then we caught up a little bit. And I know Keith gave us some information regarding what the state of Ohio does. I do understand what you're saying about the delay. But again, I think this should be done more of a longer term and maybe done in off years, not the year of an election. That's my opinion. I think we should do it like maybe next year or the year after and let it sit for a while rather than trying to do it 2 months before an election to make a determination of if people should get raises, because that, I don't think that reflects on the city well, and it doesn't reflect on council well to make rush decisions, especially, as Mr. Lamb indicated, voting on an emergency clause to give somebody a raise. So, but I do understand what you're saying, and, I guess looking over all the different areas, all different communities are all different amounts of money related to the various positions, and are we compensated fairly? Some may argue yes, some may argue no. I think everybody has their opinion on whether or not we should be compensated at all. So, but I think we try to do the best for the community, and I know that the mayor and the finance director try to do what's best for the community, and, the compensation is part of that, but, how do we handle it? That's the question. But I understand what everybody's saying, but, I mean, does anybody else have any comments on that? Or, I think we could take them separately if you'd like, council and one vote, and then, the mayor and the finance director another vote if you want to do that.
Yes.
So I'd entertain a motion for council, raises for council.
I will make a motion to follow the recommendation of the Charter Review Commission of 10% for council, 5% for council president.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails 6-0-6. The next one we have is a motion for the mayor and finance director to have raises. I think it was 2.5%.
Yes.
Who was? Does anybody does anybody feel like it should be less than 2.5%?
Yes, Denny.
Again, going along with the collective bargaining units, I think going at 2.5%, even though I think that those positions deserve that, I would recommend a 2% increase.
I'm going to vote no anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. So,
And I was just trying to see if there's any consensus, that we could build any consensus for a raise versus wanting to hold off altogether. And I agree with you, Bill, it's tough to do it by emergency, and it came to us right before the deadline here. But if we don't do something now, then it's 4 years before we can, you have to have, the people that are in these spots have to know before they run for these spots.
I don't know if we have a consensus. I guess 2.5. Well, I mean, the proposal was 2.5, but I don't know if there's any consensus to go to 2. I mean, I just give you my opinion. I'm going to vote no. It doesn't matter if it's 2.5 or 2.
Right.
So I don't really care.
And I heard you say no too, Bill, so that's why I was trying to figure out if there was anything that would make anybody feel better.
Nope. All right, is there a motion?
So I will make a motion for, again, the recommendation of the Charter Review Commission, that the mayor and finance director receive 2.5% raises for the next 4 years, at 2.5 per year.
Second.
Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion ties, 3-3.
Wait,
I'm
did
not
I say it too fast? I was no.
Oh, you were no?
Yeah, I think I just said yes ahead of.
All right, well,
It goes
So
very
let-
quickly
let's
sometimes.
do this again. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion fails, 4-2. All right,
2 to 4.
or 2-4, I'm sorry.
I swear I know what I'm doing most
Okay.
of the time.
All right, just want to check, because it wasn't going to get complicated there. I didn't know what the
I know.
next action would be, or the 3-3.
I really messed that one up.
Okay, now we move on to 21-143. It's an American Rescue Plan Act authorized documents. Who is this? Is this Keith? No, wait, is this you?
Yes, we have to submit this portal thing, and we need authorization to sign these documents. The amount that we're going to get appears to be lower. The state's been changing things on it, so it's looking like 2.7 million now, but
What was it before? Was it like 5
I
million
think it
or
was like
something?
5, yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was like 5.4 when we first started talking.
Now, what do we have?
Yeah, it's 2.5, 2.6, and for 2 different times. And then the last we've heard is about 1.7 times 2, which is 3.4. So I have asked our state legislators to figure out, well, why this difference? You know, is the money being given to somebody else? Is the state keeping more of the money? What's going on? And so far, at least Sharon Ray has responded and not been able to get a decent answer to that.
And we do not know the parameters of spending that money yet. also, correct?
We have a lot of guidance at this point, but, I mean, it's all gonna have to go to, just like with the CARES, that we had the attorneys look it over, because, I mean, if you have anything that isn't allowed, then you just lose that money, so you wanna run it through them and make sure it's cleared. But we've gotten a significant amount of guidance, but we don't have the money yet, so.
And none of it is finalized yet.
So, I mean, I just don't want to, as we spoke about earlier, I just, we don't want like 60 days, you have 60 days to spend it, and then we're like,
No, the timeframe has been given to us, and it's significantly longer. It's, I want to say, it's December 31st of like '24 or something.
Oh,
It's
okay.
quite a ways out. It's
But
not
it's-
like last time where we got it, where the CARES money came in the summer, and it had to be gone by December. It's a much different deal. It goes out a few years.
so we just have to get finalized and know the amount, and then once
Yeah.
that's determined, we can figure out what we're allowed to spend that money on.
Right, and then the other thing where the timeline does matter is because, and this is fairly unusual for a grant, most of the grants we get are what are called reimbursement grants, where we spend the money first, then we submit a drawdown and we get the money. In this case, they're eventually going to give us the money up front. Because of that, we're required to allocate interest to it, and then the interest becomes part of that grant funding and can only be used for those grant purposes. So during the time that we're spending it down, it will be growing slowly, obviously, but it'll be growing a little bit, so we'll have to figure out how that's gonna be spent too. So, and then the whole thing has to be gone. And like I said, I think it's '24, but the point is, it's not December 31st of this year like the last one. We've got a couple of years on this.
And I apologize, when do we anticipate that there might be a resolution of how much? Do we have any kind of
Well,
idea?
the estimate that the mayor and I gave you, the 5 million, that came from the feds. And then the states changed it, which is odd to me because the feds are the ones that ultimately that the money's coming from. But we'll see what the state does. I don't know, I can't guess on a timeline exactly from them.
The answer is it was April, the first
Right?
estimate, then it was May, and here we are into mid-July, and we're still waiting.
Yeah,
And
okay.
again, it's hung up at the state level.
So we want to give you authority to sign the documents if they come in.
Well, it's actually ahead of time, even before what we know we're getting. We have to get on this portal to have everything in place to then receive the money, no matter what that money is.
Okay.
And that's why I've asked, we just got this middle of last week, and that's why I'm asking, with this being your last meeting, that we take it to Finance and Council with the emergency clause, so that we can get into the portal and be ready when the money does come down.
Okay. Any questions?
I'll make a motion then to authorize the mayor to,
I do have some questions.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Huber, did you read this? The U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Awards and Terms and Conditions? No, I didn't. Okay. 'Cause I've got a problem with number 9. There's a thing in here that says that we agree to comply with all the requirements of Section 303 of the Civil Rights Act, blah, 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 blah. It's the, and to comply with all other applicable federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders. I got a whole lot of heartburn with executive orders. They opened up a new ink factory for this guy.
Well, that's standard language in most of these grants we get. When we get the FAA grants, frequently that language is in it. It's usually,
Does that mean executive order, does that mean executive orders as they stand today, or anything that they may think of down the road?
well, it would be executive orders as of the day you pass this, if you
Okay,
pass
so
it.
something that happens in the future will not impact what we're required to do.
Until you get another federal grant, this is boilerplate federal language in a lot of their grant proposals.
And Mr. Rose,
Yes, sir.
are you referring to this guy as our president?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that.
Are there any other questions?
Well, just for clarification, I understand and appreciate Mr. Rose's concern, but the fact of the matter is, we either sign the federal documents or don't take any money. It's really that simple.
Right, but I just want to make sure that we're not signing up for something that we don't want to be signed up for. Kind of like way back when we had the Babs thing, and we got the lower rate with government subsidies, but we were able to write, Keith was able to get a clause written in there that says, and if the government quits subsidizing it, we can call these notes in. So we're not stuck at the higher rate. Well, this is the same type of thing that I'm concerned about. You know, we don't want to be tied to something that, for however long, that we can't afford.
I know what you're saying, but I think if the federal government tells us to do something, I'm pretty sure we have no say.
Well, no, we do have a say here. We do have a say here, and that's, don't take the 3.4.
Well,
I know it's tempting. I know it's tempting. That's how crack dealers get people hooked.
well, that's true, but I think the 3.4 will better serve this community over the different projects that we can accomplish than, you know, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if we really have no control over that, nor will our saying no impact any decision made by the federal government.
And I would add, I mean, this applies to the grant. It doesn't apply to the rest of our funds. So we're not encumbering, we're not saying, okay, by taking this grant, we agree now to do a whole bunch of things with all of our other money that we already had. These restrictions apply only to the money that comes from the grant. So ultimately, if the restrictions were to become, to try to alleviate your concern, Mr. Rose, if the restrictions were to become so onerous that we felt that it just wasn't worth it, we could say, okay, here you can have the money back. We're just not going to do this. We haven't agreed here, at least my understanding, I guess that's really a question for Greg, but these restrictions apply to the grant, not to everything else you're doing.
Right, and I think
Okay.
number 9 provides that if we don't comply, we have to give it back.
So Paul, when it says applicable executive orders, it's talking about applicable executive orders in relation to this proposal.
Okay, all right.
And so it isn't necessarily blessing all of President Biden's executive orders that I guess you have an issue with. It would be applicable executive orders as it relates to this proposal. But
Okay,
this
all right.
is typical language found in a lot of the federal grant agreements that we receive.
Yep. Okay,
Thank you for the education.
Any other questions?
I will make a motion then to authorize the mayor to sign the required paperwork for the American Rescue Plan Act with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 21-144, grant application, Ohio Public Works Commission. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Every year, except for last year with the pandemic, our Ohio Public Works grant application is due immediately after the first meeting after the summer recess. So that's why we're submitting this now. We will have to pass a resolution at that first meeting. We don't have a project selected yet or to recommend. We will over the next coming weeks and certainly advise council when we do. A couple of things I can let you know. Spoke to Andy Conrad, the county engineer, who's our district coordinator for us. This year, we will be eligible to apply for a little over $484,000 in grant. In addition, every year the district is expected to take out a certain percentage loan. No other communities have applied for the loan. He doesn't expect this year, so he's basically telling us we're going to have to take a loan along with our grant this year. The loan amount will be $130,000. It is 0% interest loan, and there's no prepayback penalty. So it's not a bad thing, but, so we will ultimately get $614,000, $130,000 of which will be a loan.
Any questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 21-145, amend salaries and benefits code 3107, accept community development director job description. Who's this? Is the mayor, you doing this one?
Yes, sir. So this, when I was reviewing the job description for the position of Community Development Director, in all of our other salary and benefits code, a number of years ago, we've included the fact that they have to have a valid driver's license and be insurable by the city's insurance, and we realized somehow this one was missed, and we're just correcting that.
Any questions?
Move to correct the language of the community development job director?
And it says the emergency clause is requested.
Oh, sorry.
The reason for that, sir, is we'd like to start advertising for the position, but we usually post the job description with it, so until we can get it changed, we can't do that posting.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. I'll add the emergency clause to my motion.
And my second includes the emergency clause.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 21-146, amend salaries and benefits code 3110 to add Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Mayor, is that you?
Yeah, let me catch up with you here for a second.
Okay.
Okay, so we got word that the federal government was passing this on Thursday, late afternoon, about 10 to 5. June 19th this year would have been on Saturday, meaning the city generally would have observed it on Friday. We did not have a chance to post the buildings, that the city hall would be closed. We had told people all day long at service, utilities, and planning and zoning, or planning, zoning, building, and economic development that took forms. You can come back tomorrow and file them. So it just, long story short, we just simply couldn't shut down on that short of notice adequately. So I met with the unions, and they were agreeable instead of filing, because in the police unions and in our salary and benefits code, not in our Teamsters. So the 3 police unions and salary and benefits, it says any other day designated by the governor or the president. So they could have filed a grievance and said, you owe us that 8 hours because we had to work, plus we get the holiday. Instead of that, they agreed that if between now and the end of the year, they could just have a floating holiday to take that would not come out of their sick time or be deducted in any other way. That would let us schedule it better. It would not have the impact it would on the budget with the first scenario. And so the language was written up and agreed to by the OPBA legal counsel, as well as our legal counsel for contracts. The salary and benefit code needs to be amended to reflect same, and that's just for this year only. From 2022 going forward, it'll be on the 19th, or if it's on a Saturday, it'll be Friday, and if it's a Sunday, it'll be Monday. So it'll only be this 1 year. And I'm also, out of fairness, it was not in the Teamsters contract, but I know this council, for as long as I've been here, has tried to treat everybody equally. And we have expressed to the Teamsters that, subject to council's approval, because our past practice is if it's silent in the Teamsters contract, they go back to the salary and benefits code anyway. So the fact that we're changing this across the board out of fairness, we feel it should be applied to the Teamsters as well. And the reason for the emergency clause is if we wait until the council meeting at the end of August to pass it, even with an emergency clause, then we've lost the rest of July and all of August that some of those folks could have used the day for. And we want to start chipping away at those who don't have so many leaving at one time.
Any questions?
No, I just wanted to comment, thank you, and whoever else was working on this, thank you for the hard work.
I'll make a motion to add June 19th as a federal holiday for the city and with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
And I guess your motion also includes the modification that the mayor talked about, because it's not only the 19th, but they get to use this time during the rest of the year. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody understand that? Rolling holiday for this year. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come before finance before we recess into executive session?
John,
Mr. Rose?
did you see the addition? The
Oh.
Tressa sent out an addition.
No, I don't have that addition on my calendar.
MCRC marketing update.
Mr. Worley, you're on the agenda. That's not on my agenda, but evidently you're on it.
Thank you. I just wanted to revisit the conversation that we had at the Public Properties meeting last week, where we had talked about kind of our overall marketing plan and improvements that we're hoping to do at the rec center in lieu of the 20th anniversary coming up around the corner. We're working on trying to develop a new logo. You might recall, this is the logo that we currently have. When looking at that, we're trying to rebrand or nickname the rec center, either the Medina Rec or the Medina Recreation Center, to give us a little bit of creative freedom, because we feel like if we stick with MCRC, that kind of restricts us to just 4 letters. And a lot of the designs that we are getting back from some graphic design companies are all relatively the same. They're all relatively plain. So we're looking to have just some creative freedom to work on rebranding a logo that'll only be used on shirts or events that we're having. Then this is not changing the name. We're not removing community from the official name. It's going to stay on the building, the entry signs as you come in off of Weymouth Road. We're just looking to have some creative freedom so that we can establish the logo and then carry those colors and themes into the building to freshen it up. A lot of the interior is original, almost 20 years old. So we're working on getting that color and bringing it into the building, changing the acoustical tiles, and then incorporating some sort of abstract art into the design and carry it into the facility. They're relatively simple cosmetic changes, but I think, ultimately when we're trying to reach past recreation center members, new members, as well as current members, I think freshening it up is a great way to start. We're already doing more with programming and have pretty substantial leisure pool upgrades starting here in just a few weeks. So I just wanted to get your input on that. The school board did talk about it, and they were okay as long as we didn't change the official name, which therefore wouldn't change any of the permanent signage on the outside of the building, and we wouldn't need to change anything in the JOA. That's all I have.
Think you any discussion on that? Anybody have an issue with that? Sounds like it's good to go. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jensen. I'll make a motion at 6:28 PM to go into executive session for 2 purposes. The first is consider the purchase of property for public purposes where premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive bargaining advantage to a person whose private interest is adverse to the public interest. And the second is conferences with the law director of the city regarding disputes involving the city that are subject to pending or imminent court action, to include the mayor, the law director. Anybody else, Mayor?
Kimberly.
Sir? No, sir.
Mrs. Marshall, I think, is coming in.
Not Mrs. Marshall, or?
I think she's coming in on the 1.
I just work here.
For the South Town?
No, it was the CAC thing. Land acquisition.
Yeah, that's the South Town.
Oh. But I think she's involved. I think she's coming now.
You want to talk about South Town?
It's, yeah.
Okay, so
It's land acquisition.
It's land, we have a
Yes.
different one. Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
To also include Mrs. Marshall, sorry.
Sorry, Kimberly.
And will the clerk please call the roll?
Wait, Dan,
Oh,
did you
wait.
second?
Second, thank you.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin.
Yes. We'll be recessing into executive session to discuss all that stuff that Mr. Shields mentioned. We'll be reconvening into finance, taking no action on any item discussed in executive session. We will adjourn from finance and move on to council. We are in recess.
I'm riding the struggle bus today.